Today on the Marketing Update, would you buy a .boston domain from the Boston Globe? Berkeley Music snags the social media spotlight. Why your McDonald's burger doesn't look like the one in the ad. People using their iPhone while having sex.
For what?
And mobile Facebook ads generate 13 times more clicks than desktop ads. Stay tuned for all this and much, much more.
Welcome to Marketing Update, your trusted source for what's hot and what's not in the world of marketing. I am Laura at Pistachio Fitton.
I am Sam at Mallikarjunan, and we're coming to you live from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Please, 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 those of you watching on the live stream or in our live studio audience, follow along, play along, and meet each other by tweeting with the hashtag MKTGUp.
Old episodes are on iTunes. Be sure to leave us 5-star reviews. And if they add a 6-star column, that's what this show is.
And remember, as always, we are here at 25 First Street in Cambridge, live every Friday at 4 p.m. Come on in, be part of our live studio audience. We have beer, hard cider, wine, soda. There's a lot of underage people here today, so I hope none of you are drinking.
We are checking IDs at the free beer fridge.
We would like to welcome Middlebury College's Mid-Core program. They came all the way down from Vermont for a study tour of Boston today. And we also have students from the social media class of Professor John Wilpers. John Wilpers, thank you.
There you go, cool.
Stalling.
I expect lots of tweets from them if they're a social media class.
Yes, let's go.
You guys should be able to make MKTG up a trending topic. I have faith in you.
How about some win out there? Let's go.
All
right.
That was quite in sync. Let's get down to business, Laura. Marketing
business. So first up, would you buy a .boston domain name? Oh, we're supposed to show that first, aren't we?
We do.
We're new here.
This was my funny title. www.wasteof.money.
Right? I mean, the whole point behind having a finite number of TLDs, top-level domains, you might know them as .gov, .com, .net, .org, was so that you could have memorable real estate, right? So, gotta say, Boston Globe's always been on top of this. They jumped right in and bought boston.com, the obvious URL for their paper. So now they're taking that a step further. The ICANN, the International Registry of these names, has opened up and taken 1,900 applications from companies, organizations, governments who want to have their own .money, right? Yeah. In his framework. What do you think?
Most companies are doing this defensively. So, like Amazon, for example, is applying for .kindle so that I don't do things like things that suck worse than .kindle or something like that. So most of them are doing it defensively. Some people are actually planning on selling these things, and that's what they think about the Boston Globe and what they're planning on with .boston. There's some really interesting things about this, because traditionally, the top-level domain, for example, has been completely ignored in things like SEO. But if I buy like healthinsurance.boston, like does that help when people Google healthinsurance.boston? There's a lot of kind of interesting things, or does it just kind of like fit into the way that people shop? Most people are programmed to do .com. Like, if I say like generic like Expedia, everybody says like .com. Like, it's kind of like how it works. So I don't know that whether from a strictly marketing standpoint of people knowing my URL and typing it in, whether they're going to do like .weird extension. I don't think that that's really going to be a valuable buy. But there is some interesting use cases, especially if you're a very locally oriented company, to having websites that are specifically dedicated to a specific geography. It'd be interesting.
We'll have to see, and I hope you're right and I'm wrong, but I just think it's a colossal waste of money because, well, actually, waste of money was your quote. People hardly ever use even the other 5 that we have. Right? .com is still, if you are doing a startup, you might be able to get by with .ly for a while, which is scary because your future is staked on the country of Libya, not your most politically stable place in the world.
It's true.
But eventually you get the .com. Delicious did it, right? Twitter was TITWITTR. Like you eventually get the right spelled thing with the .com on the end, and eventually that's the only thing that's really driving any kind of traffic. So we shall see. What else have you got?
So I just word to marketers, I wouldn't necessarily spend like $193,000 like or anything obscene going after like a .boston unless you really, really, really want it. Anyways, so the next story is social media song and dance. The Berklee College of Music is really well known, obviously, but they're being known right now for something a little bit more than just the music. They have a really, really interesting, there's an article in Boston Innovation, really interesting social media presence, where they're engaging a lot of the people who are their prospective students as well as their current students to kind of improve their admissions and improve kind of their communications inside their student body. Little shameless plug for HubSpot. We actually have a team dedicated to nonprofits here at HubSpot, and this is something that we often tell people to do. Something that's kind of cool, they're having students communicate with each other. They have kind of a decentralized social media presence. So if you post on their Facebook, and you're going to get an answer from an actual student. So that lends a lot of kind of credibility. When you're considering going to Berklee or you're looking at various programs, you're going to have somebody responding to you who's actually been through it, not just like some outsourced PR firm. I know you're the huge aficionado and proponent of kind of personalized engagement in social media. So what do you think about that?
I think it's a great way to do it. It harkens back to everything that's in the Clue Train Manifesto, which is surprisingly old. It's over 10 years old now. And it's about, you know, every employee, every member of your community, every student, whatever type of organization you are, could potentially be the front line with your next customer. And you need to think about it that way, prepare them, and be agile about it. And it looks like Berklee has done just a tremendous job of doing that. Big props to them.
So we expect a music video from them. That's the tweet me maybe thing that we've been talking about for a while, right?
So it's the marketing takeaway?
So the marketing takeaway is empower the people at your institution to communicate with both existing and prospective customers in social media.
So I'm reading a new book this week by Dan Ariely, a guy I'm a huge fan of. It's The Honest Truth About Dishonesty. It's really funny. Total sidebar, you know how Amazon bought Zappos not too long ago? Mm-hmm. I ordered this at like 11 p.m. and it was on my doorstep. I ordered it with 2-day shipping. It was on my doorstep the next morning at 10.
That's creepy.
Kind of freaked me out. It was very Zappos. It was almost like stalkerish, but it was very exciting. So, all about honesty. That brings us to our next story.
McHonesty. This is...
I thought this was amazing.
This is the only time I've ever used flabbergasted in a tweet. It's fantastic. There's a lot of... There have been entire movies dedicated to the quality of McDonald's food, or just like kind of fast food in general. And the McDonald's VP of marketing or so in Canada has this thing where they address questions. It's like mcdonalds.ca/ask-your-questions or something like that. And one of the questions was, why do your burgers look better in the ads than they look in the store? And it's true.
Yeah. Right?
It's true. And rather than like deflect the question or ignore the question, she went very honestly. She went and ordered a burger at one of the McDonald's, which I was wondering when I'm watching that video, I'm like, do these guys know that they're talking to their bosses? Yeah, I
kind of wondered if that was like hidden camera or if she's like, hey, yo, I'm in charge, you know.
But it was very legitimate. It was a very McDonald's-looking burger, right? It's what you would actually expect as a human being to get. Right. And she brought it to their film studio that has been their film studio for the last 7 years. It's the one that's done all of their photography. And she had them take a photo of it. And she went through the process then of watching them create or craft the burger that actually gets photographed. It's about a 4-hour process.
Yeah. So this is an article on adage.com this week. A HubSpot employee, Anand Rajaram, sent it in to us. And they show the whole video, and we just think this was incredible honesty. You know, basically, why doesn't your McDonald's look nearly as nice as in the pictures? And you watch, you know, like obviously you couldn't commercially produce burgers as carefully as the food stylists are to arrange it.
Yeah, I mean, he was using like a little thing to like slowly melt the cheese and stuff.
Yeah. And it's gotten better. I mean, they used to straight up go plastic. Like food styling was like paints and shellacs and all this stuff, and they've passed laws saying truth in advertising, you have to use the actual food.
Yep.
But the reality is, just like they're using actual women for magazine covers, you can do so much with the makeup and the fan and the airbrush. Come on, they're photoshopped, right? And we just thought that was such a refreshing take. Just take them right straight up behind the scenes and say like, yeah, no, they are different and it's legit.
It's one of the most beautiful marketing and PR responses that I've ever seen to criticism. It was great. She walked through, showed how it's the same ingredients, and she also gave a very plausible explanation for, when you buy a burger, all the ingredients are to an extent hidden behind the bun, and they bring it to the forefront so that you can see it has mustard, has onions, it has pickles. Like, she gave like a nice plausible explanation. She didn't make an excuse, and I think that there's a huge lesson in there for marketers. When you get criticism, if you're doing the right thing, like, people to a great extent understand that, and they're going to respond better to people just saying, like, here's honestly, like, this is why we do this, this is how we do this. It makes a lot of sense, and I think that honesty is going to help. It's going to benefit McDonald's.
And I would have taken it even further and said, like, look, if you want to pay $10,000 each for burgers, we will have a high-end New York stylist arrange a burger for you. That's not a problem.
I wonder if somebody gets to eat that burger. I guess it's been sitting out for 4 hours.
You don't want to eat that burger.
Yeah.
I've been on food shoots before. You don't want to eat that burger. So your next story is a little racy.
Yeah, so we're redefining sexting.
Right here now on the show.
Go ahead and start tweeting me.
No, kidding.
There's
such a great point in this article. The article's on Mashable. 4% of people have used their phone during sex. My favorite part of the article is right at the end where it's like, before you borrow your friend's phone, think about where it's been.
I mean, this goes right into, like, how many people use their phone in the bathroom, how many people use their phone kind of like in the different areas of their lives. It's kind of...
Do you know the number on the bathroom one?
It's a lot. What was it?
Well, the way I put it was, I think it was like 64%. I was like, oh, 64% of people acknowledge using their smartphone in the bathroom, and 36% of people lie.
Yeah, I would hope that hopefully not 100% of people are using it during sex. But I think the interesting thing about this article is we were talking about how mobile technology is becoming omnipresent. It's becoming an extension of ourselves. When people were asked, like, what's something that you would give up for the weekend, whether it is sex or your phone, they tied. and I don't know. I mean, like, I really need my phone.
Oh, sorry, Jen.
So, Jen doesn't watch this show. Anyways, it's funny. We were having the debate earlier today, right? That we were talking about, and we're going to announce the winner of the debate a little bit later in the marketing update. But the interesting thing that you guys are talking about, it's how Twitter lends itself to a mobile interface. It is a very kind of mobile thing. There's a big emphasis on mobile. Facebook's IPO took a hit because people didn't think that they could capitalize on mobile. And this is another example of where mobile's really infiltrating every aspect of people's lives. So you have to have a mobile strategy. You have to think mobile. You have to create content for mobile. You have to create landing pages for mobile. Create interfaces for mobile. Because if you don't, you're not going to get me while I'm having sex.
I got nothing on that.
All right.
We're not even gonna talk about the new iPad case that Fleshlight just put out. Or we are.
That's a whole new level of awkward.
So let's go somewhere else with mobile, having just gone there. This is actually great news for advertisers. Now, this was covered on our very own blog this week. This is new data about Facebook ads, how they perform on mobile versus how they perform on the desktop. Perform and mobile there, not innuendo, just advertising speak. Mobile Facebook ads are generating up to 13 times more click than the same ads on the desktop. Very, very interesting news for marketers, because as a conference I was recently at in Nantucket, guy from TripAdvisor talking, he's like, yep, we got tons of people moving to mobile, we have tons of apps we're building in mobile, but I'm a little worried because it monetizes at 1/10 the rate that my browser website monetizes at. So far, it's been frightening for media companies and advertisers and startups to look at, okay, great, everybody's going mobile, but we make a fraction of the money there. Here is very opposite news, that 13 times more clicks on those ads. That does suggest there are going to be some really interesting, compelling ways to, oh God, I hate this word, monetize mobile experiences.
You just don't like monetizing social media in general.
I don't like eyesing anything. I think that's just wrong.
I'm going to let that go.
Don't eyes me, bro.
Cool. This is really interesting. If you're using the Facebook mobile app, and about 50% of adults use Facebook, and a good number of us are using the mobile app, it's very disruptive. The ads are very disruptive in terms of how much of the visual real estate they take up. Right, when you're on a desktop, it's a very small part of the screen. it's fairly easy to ignore them. It's fairly easy to just not even see them because it's typically like images and there's kind of images filling your screen. Here it's like it stretches across the entire thing. They do a very good job of using social recommendations, like, you know, Mike Ewing likes this particular thing on Facebook. I do have one qualm about it, though, and that's the performance of traffic from mobile, like you were talking about. So
right.
we talked.
The clicks are just the first step.
Right. The clicks are the first step in terms of whether or not this is actually going to bring enterprise value for your business. I mean, you can drive lots of clicks. You can drive cheap clicks even, but is that really going to turn into any actual conversions for you? And I think that going back to the previous segment, you have to change the way that you think about mobile. You have to create content, you have to create landing pages and stuff that are going to be mobile optimized, because otherwise, even though you might be able to get more clicks from mobile, you're not actually going to be able to get any value. I think Facebook has a ton of opportunity, especially when it combines with local, right? If I'm mobile and it's local and then you start doing time of day, it's like, why
Minority Report. Ooh.
You call it Minority Report, I call it effective advertising, but you know, whatever. Work at a marketing company.
I'm just relieved you didn't go all the way back to the last story, because I didn't know where you were going there, Sam.
I have no desire to go back to that story.
I was a little worried. I was a little worried.
Have you guys ever seen like the awkward turtle? I felt like doing this. This distracts people when something awkward's going on. Cool. So speaking of distractions, is that not distracting?
What?
We have a question from Twitter. At Artillery Market, since at Mallikarjunan is hosting or co-hosting today, are cigars being offered to the audience?
No.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want later, I mean, we can go to courtside or something and, like, you know, have a couple of cigars. I always have some in my desk.
And am I going to spin a big wheel? What does that mean?
I don't know. He's coming to Inbound, though. I know this guy.
Okay.
So.
Well, I look forward to hearing what you meant over a cigar at the bar after Inbound. So, speaking of Inbound.
Speaking of Inbound.
The event of the summer in Boston, 2,000 marketers converging on Boston. Inboundconference.com for more information. And the reason I'm mentioning it is that we're the summer help today and the day right before Inbound. So that last Friday before our big conference with Gary Vaynerchuk, with Rand Fishkin, with David Meerman Scott, with some amazing surprise guests that Marta would kill me if I mentioned them to you now, but trust me, they're good. We will be the kind of last hurrah on Marketing Update before that show unfurls. So we'll have a lot of sneak previews of the show for you. We'll jazz you up about what's come. You'll see us again August 24th-ish, whatever the Friday is, right around then.
It's going to be a really great conference. I hear they got a really smart, really good-looking guy to talk about e-commerce.
Did they?
Yeah.
Who?
You have to ask?
I heard they have a hilarious MC.
Yeah. We're such narcissists. All right.
No, I meant Volpe.
Oh.
No, I don't know. We don't know who's MCing yet. We're just teasing.
Okay, so the marketing tip of the week is?
Honesty is the best policy. Looking at McDonald's, you know, that's a potential defensive moment. This is why it's always better to, like, turn the other cheek and look at the bright side of things, because if you approach criticism like that defensively, you just look dumb and you look mean and you look bad. If you do something really groundbreaking and just, all right, yeah, great, bring in a camera, we'll show you how that burger's made.
Absolutely. Keeping secrets is really hard these days anyways. Lying to people is really hard these days anyways. Just be open and honest. HubSpot's really transparent, almost to our detriment sometimes. We're not good at keeping secrets. We don't want to dedicate brain power to that. We want to build tools that help people create marketing that people love. So, you know, just be honest, be open with your audience when people ask you questions and make criticism.
Yeah, I was born without a poker face, so I have no other choice. But
we're playing cards later.
Speaking of keeping secrets.
Speaking of keeping secrets.
You have a secret. So earlier today, I was here at this desk with Kip Bodnar here, pounding Kip over the head with a hammer of I think Twitter's awesome, and he was pounding me over the head right back with I think Twitter's dying. We're now going to reveal the audience, and I actually don't know it because I would have given it away with my bad poker face, the audience choice for who won today's great marketing debate.
Do we have like drum roll sound effects? There we go.
Come on, you guys.
This is what an engaged audience is for. And the winner is Laura at Pistachio.
Thanks, y'all. To be fair, Kip had a real hard argument to make. Twitter is wildly popular, and I was really, really proud of him for coming on the show and debating that. He took more guts for him than it took for me.
I want to stand up for my good friend Kip and say, like, a good amount of the people voting were coming from Twitter.
Not unbiased sample. No, and he had me on the ropes early on. I was blinking a few times going, oh, God, that's a good point.
My absolute favorite thing, though, was your AM radio metaphor, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of noise on Twitter, but there's also a lot of noise on AM radio. If you listen to all the channels at once, you're not going to get any
Why
value.
would you do that?
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
All right, guys, what are you doing this weekend? Wow. It's like a one mind.
So I'm a single mom, and so I share custody with the kid's dad. And so I actually haven't seen my kids in 10 days because we switched from the school schedule to the summer schedule. So like I'm going to disappear before the camera's even off and run out that door and be in traffic for 3 hours, but head to Newport with the kids. They're already down there with my parents. I cannot wait to see my girls.
That's cool. I am actually doing something interesting this weekend, which is unique for me. I am going to be judging the Phantom Gourmet's beach barbecue party on Sunday.
That is a great gig. How'd you score that, Sam?
Twitter.
Sorry, Kip.
They saw me like tweeting that I was excited to go, and I got some tickets, and I told them that I'm from the South and that I'll be the judge of whether or not it's good barbecue. And guy sent me a direct message, and he was like, "Hey, would you like to actually be a judge?" Sure.
Attaboy. All right, take care. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Everybody.